Spirit of 47 podcast. We are back. I'm your gracious host, Bryson Clark, and I'm here today with a very special guest. It is a privilege to be with candidate for sheriff of Whitfield County, Mr. Darren Pierce. Thank you for your time.
Absolutely. Yes. Absolutely. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Yes, sir. So you are definitely a Whitfield County native, right?
Oh yeah. Born and raised here my whole life.
Okay. Born and raised, and you went to Southeast.
I did. Yeah, I was born and raised on the south end of the county. Attended Eastside Elementary, Eastbrook Middle School, and then Southeast High School, and from there went to the sheriff's department the day after I graduated high school.
Wow. And I read that you've been at it for 18 years?
18 years. Yeah, so, I started out with the Dalton Police Department's Explorers program when I was in high school. I was probably a junior in high school, sophomore, junior. Joined that program and realized that law enforcement was something that I wanted to go into. So I applied with the sheriff's office when I was a senior in high school, just a few months before I graduated, and I had a captain at the time. He's retired now, but he called me and wanted to know when I wanted to start. So I told him, I said, well, I don't graduate till, whatever the day it was, May 27th or whatever, 24th, I can't remember. And I said, it's a Friday night, I guess I can start Saturday morning. And so I started that Saturday morning, and I was there for 18 years.
Wow.
Yeah. And then I worked in all the different divisions. I started my career in the jail and did that for a few years. Then I went to the police academy. Well, the funny story is you can't buy a handgun until you're 21. Well, I actually had to have the current sheriff write me a letter saying that I could purchase a firearm so I could go to the police academy. So I did that. Went and got my firearm, went to the academy, graduated the academy. When I turned 21, was put in the patrol division and did the patrol division for a couple of years. Got transferred to a specialized unit called PACE. It was a proactive criminal enforcement unit, which they no longer have. And so I went back to just regular patrol. Got promoted to sergeant in the patrol division. Did that for a couple of years. Went to transferred to investigations. Did investigations for a few years and over the narcotics unit. Got promoted again to sergeant in the narcotics unit. Did that for a little bit and went back to the patrol division as a sergeant. That's kind of where I finished out my career. While I was there, I was able to obtain my intermediate and advanced certification, my supervisory and management certification, over 2,200 hours of law enforcement training, and I've got my 4-year bachelor degree through Liberty University in criminal justice. So it's kind of the only thing I've ever known my whole life is law enforcement.
And that's impressive. Also to know that, from a youth up until this point, that you pretty much had a clear-cut purpose of what you wanted to do with your life. And sometimes we are late bloomers, but other times it's good to know right away so you can just jump right into it, and that's what you did.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And early on in my career, I realized, my dream would be to be the sheriff one day. I left the sheriff's office about 3 years ago, unhappy with the way things were being ran. And plus, I had a very good job opportunity in the private sector that I just couldn't pass up. And at the time, it was the right decision for my family. A lot of people in the community have asked me to run for sheriff. And back in the fall, the Lord put it on my heart to go ahead and run. And I did a lot of praying. And I met with my pastor and told him what was going on, and just kept getting confirmation from the Lord that this is what he wanted me to do. And so here we are, and we're in the what I call the Super Bowl now. Yeah. We had the primary, I won that, and now here I am in the final game. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, this is coming soon, November 5th, right?
November 5th is the day of the election, which early voting starts October the 15th, which is 2 weeks away.
Yeah, to be here before you know it. And as far as, your campaign, I know you're a busy man and everything. Some of the things that you would like to touch on as far as, some of your policies and what go ahead.
Yeah. So my first objective, and I put this out there on social media the other day and a couple weeks ago, and actually I've talked about it since the beginning of the year when we launched our campaign, is my number one objective is going to be putting school resource officers in every single school in this county. That isn't a won't, that isn't a we'll try to, that is, it has to happen. and it should have happened over the last several years, but it hasn't. Right now, we have school resource officers in middle schools and high schools, but we don't have any in elementary schools, and that's kind of your softest targets. Those little kids need the same amount of protection that we're giving our high schools and middle schools. So this should have happened over the last several years. That's my number one objective, number one goal. Number two is going to be develop a drug canine interdiction team. We currently have 0 canines in this county. And so what are we doing to really equip our officers with the right tools they need to help fight the war on drugs? We're not, and that's a big problem. So that's number two. Number three is going to be transparency. We have to let the community know what is going on in their neighborhoods. We have to let them know about the crime statistics, who we're looking for as far as suspects, most wanted, any kind of events that we have going on, or anything that the public needs to be made aware of. And then number four, we're going to have community-oriented programs like a junior deputy program, a police citizen academy, an Are You OK program for our elderly, women's self-defense class. There's several things that the sheriff's office should be doing to help build those relationships for the community and with its citizens.
And I noticed that you're definitely taking a very strong grassroots approach to your campaign, which is definitely respected and definitely applauded. But how is this approach that you've taken been for you as a candidate, as opposed to other approaches that other candidates may do from a more corporate standpoint?
Yeah, so I always let the Lord guide and lead me, direct me. So my campaign, has been social media. It has been going to all kinds of events, rather I'm invited to or I hear about. I'm at all kinds of events. I do a lot of door knocking, from canvassing from neighborhood to neighborhood. I take my little girl with me, my son with me. Sometimes my wife will drive me around, but she just sits in the car and she won't get out with me. But it's been fun. It's been very exhausting, physically demanding, emotionally demanding, mentally. It's just very stressful because you feel like you're pulled from here to there, and you might say, okay, I can go to this event for an hour, but then I've got to leave and I got to go to this other event. But just getting out and meeting the people, that's been the biggest part of our campaign, and getting our message out to them.
Yeah, and I could sense that because I happened to see you at an event. Shout out to Jennifer Austin for her block party Labor Day weekend, and I saw you there. And man, it says a lot. It speaks volumes that you're able to touch the people and be out among people and share your vision with everybody. So are there any other issues that really is on your heart, or that you really would like to change?
Right now the sheriff's office is losing employees at a rapid rate, and they have a very high turnover. Law enforcement is something you get into because you care about the community and you want to do the right thing. And as administration, as leaders or administrators, supervisors, however you want to look at it, they need to be valuing, respecting, listening to their employees, and they need to respect them. Listen to their concerns, be there with them, try to find out ways to lessen the stress on them, because law enforcement is a very stressful job. And I want to be more of a hands-on sheriff. I want to be involved more. I want to know what's going on in the day-to-day operations with the guys. I want to listen to them. Just listen to what they've got to say, and you be there for your people.
And that's important when you implement an open-door policy, especially when you're somebody in charge and you have that open-door policy with your subordinates. That goes a long way with them.
A long way, but not only that, but you also need to have an open door policy for your citizens, the people you work for, the people that have employed you. That's why I give my direct cell phone number out to people, and some people are like, "Oh, you're crazy for doing that. Why would you do that?" I said, because it's the people I work for, and if they need to get a hold of their sheriff, they need to be able to pick the phone up and call me. That's just the way. That's the way it has to work. Has to.
And I had the number myself, and I'm like, man, I don't know whether to call or not. I didn't know if it was real, because you're not used to seeing candidates do things like this.
Well, I had a guy call me. He goes, "Oh, you did pick up?" I said, "Yeah, why wouldn't I?" He goes, "I was just going to say if you picked up or not." And I said, "Yeah, I mean, if you need to get a hold of me, call me. If I'm elected as your sheriff, the same thing's going to. I mean, it's going to stay the same. If you need me, call me. I'll be there."
Yeah. And I know, like I said, your time is precious and everything, but what are some things that you want to be able to? I guess you've talked about things you want to accomplish, but what is the long term for Whitfield County that you see up under?
Ultimately, I want to reduce the crime. I want because statistically the crime has been going up outside in the county. We need to try and build better relationships with the communities, and we need to work closely with the community, with the citizens, because at the end, you're going to get more. You're going to achieve more when you are working with the people versus against them. And that's the big thing about being transparent too. Let them know what's going on. Let them know what's going on. They're going to help you solve crimes. I promise you, that's just like a hide and go seek game. If you're looking for a certain person, are you going to have a better chance at finding that person with 100 people or 100,000? Well, it's pretty clear it's 100,000. Work with the community. I want to make sure that we have a very good working relationship with the citizens here in Whitfield County.
Yeah. And I'll finish my last question. I guess I would have is, historically there have been people or certain groups of people who may not have had the greatest relationship with law enforcement and vice versa, whatever. But like, how do you plan to kind of tackle that thing moving forward with as far as building that trust between certain people?
So one way to build that trust is you have to one of the ways is the Police Citizen Academy. Have those people come and be part of the sheriff's office. Let them know that, hey, change has happened, and this is the way we're going to operate things now. But we want you to work with us. We want you to be part of the sheriff's office and build that relationship. That Police Citizen Academy would work wonders. It really would. Dalton PD does a great job at it, and Whitfield County Sheriff's Office should be doing the same thing. And I think with that, you will build those relationships. You'll build those relationships back up.
Yeah, I love it, man, and it's needed. Like I said, to me, it's very organic, and I think that a lot of progress can be made with this. And so I wish you the best, man, and thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is there anything else that you want to say in closing?
If anybody has any questions and they want to meet me, feel free to reach out to me on Facebook. It's Darren Pierce for Sheriff. My TikTok is Darren Pierce for Sheriff. My Instagram is Darren Pierce for Sheriff. And my cell phone number is 762-201-4298. So if anybody has any questions whatsoever, feel free to reach out to me. I will meet you. I'll answer any questions that you have.
All right. Well, y'all heard it here. Mr. Darren Pierce, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, man.
Absolutely.